Members of the LGBTQ community in Edmonton are reacting to the sudden and surprising cancellation of the city's Pride Festival. The Edmonton Pride Festival Society says its goal is to, quote, host a safe and enjoyable event. However, given current events, they do not feel that this is attainable for this year. Rohan Dave is the program coordinator for Shades of Color. That's an organization that advocates for Indigenous, Black, and people of color in the queer and trans community. And he joins us now from Edmonton with reaction. Rohan, firstly, I know it's early there, so thank you so much for getting up and joining us to get us up to speed. The Society mentioned a list of demands given to them by your organization and another one called Rarica Now. What kind of changes are you looking for?
So basically, Shades of Color and Rarica Now are advocating for a more inclusive space for queer and trans, Indigenous, Black, and people of color at Pride. And we use the language of demands because this feels like a crisis for our communities. People are feeling suicidal over Pride. People are getting deported. This is a crisis for queer and trans racialized people. And so we use the language of demands because this feels urgent. And the whole change that we're hoping to get out of this is having more workshops at Pride for our communities to get education, to exist in a safe space, to get mental health supports. We were hoping to end with a vigil to commemorate and honor the lives lost due to transphobia, homophobia, racism, because this is still happening today. This is still happening in our community. And so we want the Pride Festival, and Pride is an event to honor that and to acknowledge that this harm is still being caused, but to also celebrate how far we've come.
And now we find ourselves with a festival that was canceled, and people who are disappointed in the decision to cancel the parade, does it not do a disservice to the entire community to have this whole event canceled?
Yes, definitely. Shades of Color is obviously very upset that the event was canceled. And we were not advocating for the event to be canceled, of course not. We were advocating to make changes, to make positive changes in the event. We don't want this event to be canceled. We care about Pride, otherwise we wouldn't be putting in these efforts. So we are really upset about it. Something that is important, though, and something that's helping me get through it at least, is that Pride is going to exist without the festival board. Pride has existed before, and Pride will continue to exist in the ways that we exist in our communities and relate to one another. So that's helping me get through it at least, and that's something that I've been sharing with my community. But obviously, this is a huge loss for our community.
I want to go back to what the Festival Society said. They said that they want to host a safe and enjoyable event. They don't feel that's attainable. What in your discussions with them created, as they say here, an unsafe situation, do you think?
Honestly, I'm unsure. We've had many conversations with the Pride Festival board. The word unsafe has never come up. We were having discussions. We were meeting since August of last year with them. We had several meetings with the representatives, and all the demands were negotiable. Every single demand was negotiable, and that's written in our document as well. We weren't out here to attack anyone. We weren't out here to create an unsafe situation. We were just here to make Pride better and more inclusive for people who currently feel excluded.
All right,
so I'm honestly unsure about what's...
Let's move on to the actual event in June. The Pride Festival says they're canceling their events, but can we still expect events to happen around the city in June?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of events are popping up. The one that Shades of Color is helping organize on June 28th is honoring Stonewall. It's actually 50 years since Stonewall, so 50 years since the Pride movement began as we know it. And so June 28th is the 50th anniversary of that event. That's very significant for queer and trans people, especially queer and trans racialized people. So that event, we're going to include our vigil that I mentioned before. We're going to start with a rally where we walk down the street and celebrate with each other and also acknowledge that these issues are still going on. So that's June 28th. As well as that, on June 8th, Shades of Color is hosting a sober dance party at the Sewing Machine Factory, and that event is for queer and trans people of color, as well as their friends, community allies.
Rohan, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.